Welcome to Escape This Podcast, a show that's a mix between tabletop role-playing and escape room puzzles. This is, now I want to say rare, but maybe the very, very first time?
No,
Surely
I think
not.
we've done this once before. Well, no, you know, I know
Maybe
what I'm
we've done it
thinking
the
of.
other way around before, but this is an episode with no guest. A guestless episode in which I have a room which was sent in to us by a fan of the show. So this is similar to when we have guest game masters, except this is just a guest room. We've done this recently with the room that I ran for you and Neil, the lovely, I want to say pirate. It wasn't pirate, ghost
was
ship
boat,
room.
yeah.
This is another such instance. We've been sent a room by Freya Jarman. Thank you so much for sending in this room. It's Halloween themed, so here on the spooky
And
early
apparently
November.
more Halloweeny, legit scary than mine.
This is more of a
Just
scary
because
room.
I go for a goosebumps feel, whatever. Now, what I was going to say is I think we have sort of done this before. Like we had a celebratory episode, and you wrote a mini room for me.
That is true. That's the closest we've ever had. Our million episode, not million episodes, wait, a million download special. I wrote a mini room for you. This one I didn't
I
write.
was really going to underplay that. I was going to say it was like our 10,000 download special.
No, it was better than that. Every episode we play through an audio escape room, a room full of puzzles and narrative and story where one person plays and tries to get out or achieve some other goal. This is, I know it's past Halloween. I know it's like November the 8th or
And
whatever
I know
it is.
we don't even celebrate Halloween anyway.
But yeah, so we don't really even care because Halloween is all times because it's no times because it's not that big a deal. So thank you for sending this in, Freya. I'm going to run it for Dani. Dani, I don't need to ask you what your escape room experience is. That we have an entire episode called What's Your Escape Room Experience, all about our escape room experience.
Goodness, really.
And the same for our tabletop role-playing experience, I believe.
And
so
the,
I don't
weird,
need to...
the weird part is we do so many of these that we don't make much room for real-world escape rooms anymore. So hopefully this will change in the near future. But it's been a while since we've done
It is true. It has been a while since we've done a
room.
physical. Hopefully, by the time this comes out, we'll have just done a whole bunch of physical escape
Yeah,
rooms.
we're recording this well in advance because we're going away.
So that should be fun. I don't think there's any other prep to do. But usually I'd chat to you about who you are and what's good because you're a guest, but you're not a guest.
Well,
you're a
I'm-
host.
Yeah, so I'm playing this room solo. I'm not comfortable enough in myself to 100% be me in that regard. So I'm trying to think of a character to embody for when I make decisions because, you know, I can't make decisions as myself.
That's fair.
I get very bad brain paralysis. So I need to embody a type of character.
Ah, well, you think of that.
Mhm.
You could just be yourself. I'm going to remind you, Dani.
That I can be myself to some extent.
Well, of course, be yourself to the full extent, please. But also, just remember, you're a single player. We very, very rarely have a single player. So just try and talk out
Commentate
loud
the hell out
constantly.
of it.
Commentate. But you should know this because it's like Solve This Murder. But also, when you do Solve This Murder, you should talk out loud more and commentate more. Because so people know what's going on in your head.
Yeah,
so
we've
this
been
is
through
practice. This is practice for Solve This Murder.
That's fair. Is there a murder?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting hesitation. Okay.
You don't need to solve it, but yeah, there's a murder. For people who are listening along at home, this is a spooky room. This is in no way like wildly inappropriate, but it's a little spooky. If you remember, we did Red Hill Asylum years ago. This is not quite as dark as that by any means, but it is a bit of a darker room thematically.
I mean, I put a content warning on my Goosebumps episode, so...
Yeah, well then you'll need more of a for what? For sharpening?
for sort of fake body horror, question mark?
Yeah, all right. Well, this has slightly more body horror, but it's still pretty fine.
Okay,
All right. Dani, should we get right into it?
let's do this.
Okay.
Let's see if you can figure out my character.
Oh no, wait, I have to guess?
What's it called? The worst guessing game of
The
all
worst
time?
guessing game of all time? You're on your way to a Halloween party at a friend's house.
Sounds delightful.
She's pretty well off and has an old Gothic mansion out just near a small village. Her Halloween balls are quite the occasion. You and 4 of your friends are driving through the village and out to the other side as the night draws in. After a couple of miles, you find yourself very much in the middle of nowhere. There's no moon, no street lamps, and a canopy of trees overhead. The narrow road twists and turns, and you can't see the bends very far ahead. As you wind through the dark country lanes, looking for the next turning to your friend's house, a sudden movement from the side of the road catches your eye. A small deer scampers out from the bushes. Startled, you slam on the brakes and turn the wheel hard, narrowly escaping the animal. When you've caught your breath and gathered yourself together, you realize that you've swerved one side of the car into a ditch on the side of the road.
Oh, man.
Try as you might, and even with all of you pushing your very hardest, the car won't budge. You check your phone. No signal. You have no choice but to walk on. After a couple of miles, cold from the night air and tired of walking, you reach the driveway to a house. It's not your friend's place. This building is concrete, square, grey, smooth. But a light is on at the doorway, so you approach it with a view to calling the breakdown company. You heave open the massive metal gate and walk up the pathway to the house. The air seems to grow suddenly colder, and you're not quite sure whether those are whispering voices you hear in the rustling of the wind. As you approach the building, your heart fills with hope for a warm fire and a hot cup of tea, but the chilly air reminds you that this house has no sign of a fireplace, and probably no tea either. All far too indulgent.
Oh my god.
It's a metal square! It's a concrete box!
It doesn't take much to create tea, just hot and leaf.
Yeah, there might be some hot in this house, but there's no leaf. You pull up to the door, looking for a knocker or a bell. You can't see either. It's just sheer stainless steel, without even a handle.
I'm not sure this is a house.
Instead, a hole in the door blinks at you. A small camera, perhaps? And the door simply opens. Now I'm going to add one word here as a commentary.
Okay.
Foolishly, you enter the house and enter a large, bright, white hallway. You're not sure whether to call out or leave and pretend you were never here, but before you can decide, a man enters. He's maybe 50, but it's hard to tell. He's tall and slim, lanky even, bald, clean-shaven, and wears a white suit and shirt, the latter buttoned up to the top.
I like him. I compliment his high-tech house.
He says, "Quiet, I have a script to get through here." His eyes are a piercing blue. "Come in," he offers, with an attempt at a welcoming voice. "Come in, you must be in need of sustenance." He ushers you through to a small room that looks entirely out of keeping with the hallway and the exterior. It's a classic living room. Comfy, patterned sofas, a gas fire, a teapot, and cups on a stained coffee table.
Knew it.
Don't you feel like a fool? You sit down, your weary legs relieved, and the man pours your tea. "Drink," he says. "Warm up." A little unnerved by his apparent preparedness for your visit, but nonetheless desperate for warmth, you drink the tea.
Yep.
After a couple of sips, you realize just how tired you are after all the walking, and your eyelids droop. Maybe just resting them would be okay.
This is a little bit Wolf Creek.
When you wake, you take a moment to realize your surroundings. It's a little bit Wolf Creek. You're no longer in the cozy sitting room, no longer resting on the sofa. The room is just as bright as the hallway, and what's this? Your wrists and ankles are strapped to a stainless steel bed by heavy manacles, built into the bed.
It's pretty Wolf Creek.
You see all of your friends strapped to similar beds.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a bit different. In Wolf Creek, they were separated.
The room you are in, now this is where you can start to draw a map,
Great.
is a large, brightly lit, blindingly white room. It's got a weird, hyper-clean, surgical sort of smell. From what you can see by craning your neck, the beds are in one corner. You can also see a tray of surgical equipment and some other things next to the row of beds. It seems like there's a clock on the wall above you, though you can't quite make it out from this angle. Opposite you is a standing desk with a computer and some other stuff that you can't quite see from here. Is that a photo frame, maybe? A picture of someone? Next to the desk is a set of bookshelves with some books. And further along that wall is a sheer metal door. In the opposite corner from you, next to that metal door, is a cubicle of some variety. It looks like a shower cubicle, but you don't see a shower head from here.
Okay.
Round the corner on the perpendicular wall, I'm going to say, put it on the east wall from where you are,
Sure.
based on how you've drawn your room, is another door. It's white, like the walls, and has a small interface next to it. You look around, you struggle a little, and you realize that, Dani, you have a piece of paper in your hand.
Ooh.
As you angle your hand to read it, you notice that your hand isn't fully secure in the manacle. Neither is the other one. or your ankles.
That was lazy.
The note reads, I didn't want to do this. Not this time. But I can't help myself any longer. I want you to be different, to make it stop. To make me stop. You can get out if you try. Or you can be the same as all the others and join the collection. It all started with David. Maybe he can help you finish it. And you're good to go. Solve this room. Escape this podcast.
Sorry, I'm writing the words finish it.
Ah, of course.
Well, it was very nice of our host to put us into bed after we fell asleep, but...
Your character is Ron Stampler from Dungeons & Daddies.
Not quite, but closer than you'd think.
Your character is Beth May, the human being.
Really? No. But it does feel like they put it on a little strong. I mean, not for me, obviously, but how are my friends doing?
You look over at your friends lying in the beds. They're all struggling. Very clearly, those
awake,
are properly manacled in.
Okay.
Yeah,
So these
they
are
can
like
be awake.
metal manacles. It's not Velcro. Nothing like that.
No, they're metal. They're almost fully solid metal from the bed as well. They're not like on a leather strap or anything like that. They are very intense.
Keyholes
down
or
now.
anything?
You look around, you don't see any keyholes or anything.
Okay. Sorry, gotta draw it. This is the problem with me doing a solo room. I draw.
Yeah, usually, for people at home, whenever Danny and I are doing a room together, the reason sometimes I am talking more than Danny is because whenever something happens, Danny goes completely silent and draws a picture of it, even if it's just, there are manacles. She'll take some time just like,
it certainly doesn't end up looking like a manacle.
I better silently draw a little manacle.
I'm practicing. I mean, look at my manacle.
It looks like a clamp.
It looks like a robot hand. But my old-fashioned phone looks
great.
from last time looks amazing.
Too bad it was a normal, like, 2006.
I know, that was upsetting. All right, but my friends, so far they are I don't want to say unmolested. They're fine.
They seem fine. They're all going, I'm strapped to a bed.
Okay.
Ah!
All right, stop now. Like, I need to concentrate if I'm going to
I don't want to
find
guess
our
your
host.
character, Danny. Who are you? What are you doing?
It's fine. You don't need to guess my character. It's going to be clear.
All right.
Let's go up to this white door with the interface next to it.
Sure thing. You head over to the white door. It looks very much like a lift door, except that it's as sheer bright white as the rest of the room. It is so flat against the wall that you almost wouldn't notice it. It has no handle, and there's a small interface next to it, about the size of your hand.
Oh, goodness. I press my hand up to it.
It glows faintly with what might be a hand shape, but it then reads, invalid subject, access denied.
Fine, Oh, you know what? If I were going to do this, I would probably not just use a hand. That would be foolish. So let's try a couple of other things. I hold my face up to it, hold my foot up to it. Just
You
try a
hold
couple of things.
all the body parts that you can.
Just seeing if I get any sort of different response.
Every time you touch them, the interface glows with a hand shape
Oh, okay.
and reads, unknown input.
Yeah, see, that's good to know. That makes it quite certain that hand feels like a correct choice. But it's clearly not my hand that it wants, which is fair enough. This is not my house. This is not my beautiful house.
But it is your beautiful wife.
How about this other door? I'm very interested in the doors.
It is a sheer metal door. Again, no handle on it.
This is very difficult. I knock.
A camera
Ooh.
is above the door and appears to be linked to it. There is a red light that is scanning up and down, and there is a panel on the wall next to it. As you approach the door, you see the panel light up, and it says, subject toxic, subject unprotected, no access.
I'm toxic?
Subject toxic, subject unprotected, no access.
That's kind of rude. But okay, I step back. Does it calm down?
Yeah, it calms down.
It's a little rude. Hey, those beds, are they on wheels?
You go and have a look at the beds, and they're metal, solid, kind of gurney things, but they're not on wheels.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult. I'm probably not strong enough to lift one.
Well, you might be, but with your friends strapped to them,
Yeah,
they seem far
exactly.
too heavy to move.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult and uncomfortable for them too. All right, so I won't be able to check on their levels of toxicity.
No.
If Brian is more toxic than me, I'm going to laugh. What's the clock say?
You have a look at the clock. And just as you're looking at the clock, the hands seem to suddenly stop in place, as if
Ooh.
they've just moved to a particular position.
Okay.
You see them sitting at 12 o'clock,
Okay.
both pointing directly at 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. That is how it would work.
You eye the clock for a full minute,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem to tick.
Cool. And if I then play peekaboo with it, look
You-
away, look back up.
You look away. You look back up. Nothing. Doesn't seem to change. How long do you want to spend
Yeah, I can't-
peekabooing at this clock?
I couldn't tell whether that was a you being suspenseful or prompting me to say something else. Well, I mean, no, not too much longer, but I'll come back to it after I've looked at the next thing,
Sure.
which is, I suppose, the computer table.
You start heading over to the computer table, and you hear a faint whirring behind you.
Ugh,
You turn, and you see that the clock's
Yep.
hands are moving.
okay.
They're going clockwise, and they spin all the way until 3:30.
Alrighty.
You keep looking at it, but nothing seems to change.
Mm-hmm.
So let's check over to this desk.
Yep, let's do it.
On the desk stands a computer. There's also a photo frame. And inside the photo frame, there is a picture, obviously, as a photo frame usually has. It's a black and white picture of a handsome, muscular young white man in swimming trunks, standing on a beach on a sunny day, his skin glistening in the light, his blonde hair tousled in the wind, and his face bearing the carefree smile only afforded to handsome and muscular young white men. The desk itself has a single drawer.
Ooh, a drawer. I love it. Computer?
It is a sleek new model of computer.
Excellent.
It has a wireless keyboard that's completely flat. The letters are written on where the keys would be, and it appears to be touch sensitive. Maybe less probability of dust gathering. There's a flat tracker pad instead of a mouse. You try waking the screen up. It appears to require a password.
Fair enough. And it's a computer, so I assume there's not much prompting about what the password would be.
No, you can put in some whatever, text, numbers.
This picture, pick it up, flip it around, look inside it, check the back of it, all that.
You have a look at the photo frame itself, and you see it's well put together. The back plate seems to be held in with some kind of small pins. They're flush with the frame. They do have tiny handles on these pins,
Yeah, I think I know the sort.
but your fingers are too big to pull at them. So you can't get inside the photo frame itself. But you do notice that on the back of the frame is some faded writing. It reads David, 21st July, or 21 July 1988.
Good to know. Good to know. Is this set in the present day?
Yeah,
Okay. So he's in his 50s right now. Good to. That's helpful,
sure.
presumably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Around then.
Yeah, cool.
Makes sense. I just went 32 years in the future. 33 years in the future. What year is it? No, that's 35 years in the future.
Yeah,
I know what year I'm born. I know how old I am.
do you?
I know how many extra years to add on to my birth year to get to 1988. Okay. All right. So, yes, I was told about David. David was the first, did the note say?
It all started with David. Maybe he can help you end it.
Yeah, interesting. How much does this David resemble the man that I've already met, the gentleman who let me in?
Not at all, really.
Okay. I mean, people can change.
People can change.
Because they should be around the same age by the sounds of it. Though I said he was 50-ish, but hard to tell,
Yeah.
the other man. Good to know, good to know. If only I had some doll fingers to help me with these little pin things. How's the drawer? Is that openable? Wait. Quick check of the clock.
You have a look at the clock. Still looking at 3:30.
Okay.
So you turn back to the drawer. And as you do, you hear a whirring behind you on the wall. You look, and as you look back, you see it moving again. It's now going anti-clockwise.
Ooh, okay.
And it continues on until it goes to 10 to 7.
Alrighty. Intriguing.
Meanwhile, the drawer itself, completely openable.
Lovely.
Openable. You open the drawer. And inside, there are several pages that look like they were ripped out of a passport.
Oh, that's not easy. Passport pages are sturdy.
They're the pages of a passport where you would get stamps when you enter or leave a country.
Yep.
And looking at the pages, you see a bunch of places. I guess the guy's very well travelled. Some of them you can't quite make out. But there are 4 that you can see quite distinctly.
Right.
One says Budapest, 12 May 1987.
Bpest 12,587.
You see another one says Vienna, 18 December 1987.
Veen 18/12/87.
You see Paris, 13 July 1986.
13786. Lovely.
And Moscow, you also see. Or Moscow. How do you say the city of Moscow, Moscow?
Varies. I usually say Moscow, I think,
Yeah.
but it definitely varies.
Moscow.
Okay.
5 November 1986.
So 286 is 287s.
Yeah.
Okay. Helpful. Got lots of dates going on. And yeah, that was 86, 87. He did some traveling, and then he came home with this 18-year-old or whatever, David, in 1988. Interesting. To my understanding, that is what often happens with people when they go on European holidays.
Hmm.
They come back with a young, pretty person.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so computer desk. I've still got the cubicle, the panel of instruments, and the bookshelf. Look, I'm not in a very booksy sort of way right now. Let's check out these instruments.
All right.
I'm feeling a bit confused and need to see everything, I suppose.
So there's a tray of surgical equipment. It's a metal standing tray with 2 layers, a top at waist height and a lower shelf. On the top tray is a neat arrangement of all kinds of weird and frankly unnerving equipment. A range of scalpels and large knives of various shapes and serrations, some saws of different sizes, a load of clamps and long pointed shanks, some small...
What's a shank?
I don't know, a little stabby thing. Some small fine pokey things, and some very fine hooks. You don't know what any of them are for. On the bottom tray, there are 5 canisters. They don't seem to have any labels on them, but the bases of each of these canisters are a different colour.
Oh, okay.
One is yellow,
Mm-hmm.
one is green,
Mm-hmm.
one is blue,
Yep.
one is purple, and one is red.
Lovely. Those are colours. What colour am I wearing?
You are wearing... Wait, now is this a real question or is it testing me knowing your character? You're wearing an orange jumper and a purple skirt?
Who am I dressed as?
Velma?
Oh,
I
interesting.
think those colours are correct.
I could make that work.
But you're not acting like Velma at all, so I don't think that's true.
Is one of my friends dressed as a dog?
Your friends are dressed as, and this happened in the playtest as well, they're dressed as Freddy, Velma,
I love it.
Scooby-Doo in this case.
What a
and
good group
Shaggy.
of friends I have.
Yeah.
This was nice. I'm glad we did this together.
Wait, I said Velma. Yeah, I guess you're Daphne. Are you Daphne?
You definitely made me Velma just then.
I know, but then I accidentally said Velma for one of your friends.
It's a brown skirt, isn't it?
Maybe it's brown.
I'm sure it's one of those things that varies depending on how good your TV was
That's
at showing colour.
That's true.
All right. Long, skinny poking devices and hooks and things of that nature. Any of them seem like they'd be useful for opening up a photo frame?
Yeah, the hooks look small enough to hook into those little bits on the back of the photo frame.
Fantastic. Sorry, dude. If you're watching, sorry. I don't mean to be intrusive.
He drugged you and strapped you to a chair.
Whoa, where is this coming from?
What are you talking? What is this character you're playing who doesn't understand what's going on?
Look, there's clearly been a misunderstanding here. I just want to get this all sorted out.
Danny, why have you done this? Why would you do this to me, the person running the room?
I'm playing.
You...
I'm not saying no to anything that's happening.
You pull at each of the pins on the back of the photo frame, and with a bit of wiggling, the back comes completely away. Inside, there's the photo itself, obviously, but there's nothing new on the back of that. But you also find a folded piece of A4 paper. And as you unfold it, you see that it's a periodic table.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Oh, boy. Hope I don't need to do too much periodic tabling of all of the many dates and numbers that I found, because I've just been writing them out in short form, but there was nothing to suggest that I had to do that in short form. But yeah, it is interesting how much with a periodic table, if you have any letters or numbers, pretty much, you can make that work with a periodic table. Literally. quite possible. Drawing a periodic table shape. I'm not. It's like trying to draw a country outline when
Dani,
you're not very sure what the country looks
Then
like.
you don't need to draw the periodic table.
What do you mean?
I mean, you don't have to.
I need to make it clear in some way that this is a periodic table.
I know how. You write periodic table.
Okay, some of them do that, but you know what? Writing letters takes a long time. Now I have a piece of paper that looks sort of like a castle has been cut in half.
Yeah, that's
and
a
that's
crown.
a periodic table.
That's a picture of a crown wearing a crown. Okay.
All right,
periodic table.
so I've got a periodic table. Not totally sure what to do with that, but like, it could be relevant in some way or another. Again, I'm just writing things in short form. Like those colors, I didn't draw things in colors for those canisters, so I've just written letters for them, and now that's just red herringing me, making me wonder if Y and G and P and R are things I should be looking for on the periodic table. Now I know I shouldn't, because only some of those are elements, but still. Is the periodic table color-coded like so many periodic tables are?
No, it's a black and white periodic table.
All right, fine. All right, let's take a look at the last couple of things. The cubicle feels like it's going to be quick. One extra glance at the clock.
You have a look at the clock, and as you look, it just starts moving.
Great.
It moves clockwise again this time, and it all goes all the way around to 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. That's curious. I expected the hour hand to do more. Minute hand is totally fine. Looking at the minute hand in the drawings of clocks that I have done, because I find that helpful.
Yeah, drawing clocks is very fair.
I would argue that is more helpful than writing the numbers. So, yeah, started with the minute hand facing up, then it went clockwise down, then it went anti-clockwise up and around again, and then it went back. It is definitely changing by certain numbers each time, but the clockwise, anti-clockwise isn't quite working with it. Necessarily. Like it looked like it went forward 30, then back 40, but then if it had gone back 50, that would have set it to where it is right now, back at the 12, but it went forward and that would have made it go forward 70, which isn't quite what I expected. So I'm still not seeing a direct pattern there. And the hours went from 12 to 3:30, so about halfway past the 3, but let's just call it the 3. So it went forward 3 hours. And then 10 to 7, so if it was going anti-clockwise, that would be like back 9 hours-ish. But then forward only like a bit over 1 hour, like 1 to 2 hours, going from 6-something to 8 o'clock. That's interesting. Maybe I should also write out the numbers in case they're doing something. So I will do that. 12 o'clock went clockwise to 3:30, which I suppose, who knows, maybe I should argue that it's 15:30. Don't know if I'm overthinking that. Maybe we'll find out. Then 6:50, and then 8 o'clock. Do I see anything when I do that? Specifically in the clockwise anti-clockwise-ness, because that's got to be important. It seems like it's definitely doing that for a reason. I'm just not seeing it quite yet. All right, well, I was on my way to the cubicle. Let's take a look at this cubicle. If it is a shower, maybe it can get this toxic off me.
The cubicle is a large box, very much like a shower cubicle. The door and the walls are clear glass, and the door itself makes a firm seal when closed. There's no shower head as such, but there are a lot of holes on the ceiling and the floor that make it look like something comes out of there to fill the thing up. Or something comes out of somewhere to fill the thing up. On the back wall of the cubicle, there are 5 large holes, as if they want something put in them, a cartridge or something like that. And above the holes is an electronic panel that reads, "Shower empty." Although, you notice something odd about it. Shower is written in all capitals, except for the final R. Shower, and then empty is all written lowercase.
That's curious. Are they like on top of each other? Like these words? Does it feel like they are lined up griddily, letter on top of letter in any way?
No, it just says shower empty.
Interesting. So if I see a mix of capital letters and non-capital letters, I definitely typically go periodic table. Unfortunately, I can put elements just without thinking. to S, H, O, and W, but I don't know what ER is, if that is an element. I assume that's an element. Can I find ER on the periodic table while I fail to guess?
Would you like to just grab periodic table up on your phone?
Erythrium. Erythrium is not an element, I don't think. Now, I could also just look up periodic table ER, but no, I'm going to look up a picture of a periodic table. I got to find an ER. What am I missing? Which element am I forgetting? If any. I'm still not seeing. There he is. Oh, it's right in one of the bottom sneaky bits. The lanthanides or... No, lanthanides are not. What are the bottom ones?
Lanthanides.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actinides?
Erbium. Erbium. Can you roll your R for me?
Erbium?
Erbium.
Erbium?
There we go.
Airbnb?
Okay. All right. So if I'm spelling out shower with periodic table things, that would be a sulfur, which I spell with an F. Hydrogen. Oxygen.
That's oxygen for people playing along at home.
Wolfram.
That's tungsten for people playing along at home.
And erbium.
That's erbium for people playing along
How
at
much
home.
I'm trying really hard to roll my R's. I just cannot do it. My tongue doesn't work that way.
Roll your M instead.
That makes it feel like you want me to do lip trills, and I hate lip trills.
I don't know.
They make my face feel awful.
I didn't plan out what letter I would tell you to roll just then. I just thought it'd be funny to tell you to roll a different letter. Say erbium, but roll your M's.
Yeah. Erbium. Seriously, we have to do that for musical warm-ups sometimes, don't we?
The lip
Singing
trills?
warm-ups. I hate it. It makes my whole face feel like it's crawling.
Fair enough.
I just, it's awful. I tend to just cover my mouth and just go, and no one can tell that I'm not doing it. All right, but what do I do with those things?
Is Dani doing the lip trills? They've covered their mouth with their hand. There's no way of knowing. We'll assume that, yes.
Look, some musical theatre people can be pretentious. I assume that they're just thinking, like, when some people sing and they're practicing singing, they'll put their hand on their throat.
That's it, yeah.
So I figure they probably
part of
think
the
I'm doing
warm-up.
that. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing my own mouth warm-up.
You know how influential you are of the cast, whether everyone's doing it by the final rehearsal.
Cool. Now, that is 5 elements.
That is 5 elements.
And there were 5 holes.
There were 5 holes.
The way you described it, I couldn't tell, did it feel like 5 individual things could fit into those 5 holes, or did it look, like sort of a plug socket where you've got multiple holes
It
for
looks
one
like
object?
5 individual objects could go into those 5 holes.
All right. We do have 5 mystery canisters. Do
You
they
do
look
have
like
5
they
mystery
fit?
canisters. They do fit.
Okay.
Those mystery canisters fit perfectly.
Great, but to my knowledge, I don't have a huge amount of putting these colors to these elements outside of sulfur being typically yellow, but I feel, typically yellow. Beyond that, I don't really have much color. I don't know what color to associate with oxygen.
No, that's very fair.
So I'm not sure what I can do with that. Is this canister's opener anyway? Or
No,
is-
they're
would-
complete. From your investigation, they
Hmm.
seem completely sealed.
Interesting. Well, it feels like I shouldn't just be guessing checking with 5 things. That'd be pretty wild. So how can I find a connection there? Not any real letter connection between them. Not sure yet. I'm still just trying to put things together, and I've got to remember that just because I've written letters on the canisters doesn't mean there were letters on the canisters.
No, there are only
Just
coloured
representing-
rims to the bottoms of
Yep.
those canisters.
Yeah, if I look in the holes, I can't see any paint scrapings or
No,
anything
no
where they've
paint
been
scrapings.
before. Interesting. All right, I guess I should check the bookshelf. Well, I mean, once we get out of here, if I'm going to have a good conversation with this man, I should know what he's into.
Who is this character? Is it a person? Is it a real character? Or is it like an archetype?
Oh, it's an archetype.
Oh, weirdo. All right. There are only 3 shelves on this bookshelf and a bizarrely sparse arrangement of books.
Good, that's
Pretty
how I
much-
drew it.
They're pretty much all medical textbooks of one variety or another. Gray's Anatomy, Johnson Dodge's The Essentials of Anatomy, Sanitary Science and Embalming, another called A Treatise on the Human Hair and the Formation of the Skin, and, the Home Book of Taxidermy and Tanning.
I gotta say, I got a lot to talk about with this guy.
Oh, stop doing this character!
Does he know this thing about rehydrating mummies?
Go away. There's one in the middle. Is your character you? There is one on the middle shelf.
Mhm.
Then further along, like from left to right, there are 3 on the top shelf. Then a bit further along, there are 4 on the bottom shelf. And then one final book back on the middle shelf.
So 3 shelves. Middle shelf, there was
One
I
on the middle
starting-
shelf.
Starting at the left?
Yep.
Great. 1.
A little bit later, there are 3 on the top shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Then 4 on the bottom shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 on the middle shelf.
Cool. All right, so that's not an order. I thought it was going to be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, but not so much.
It's like he has some kind of weird system where you can't have books taking up a whole shelf or being above each other or something odd like that. Oh, and then also, lying on its side, there's a surprisingly old book. It doesn't seem to match the others. It's a 1967 edition of Improve Your Opening Game, an annotated encyclopedia of chess openings.
Oh, no. I am not great at my chess notations and openings and all of that sort of stuff. Ugh, like it wouldn't surprise me if I found out that there was a Budapest opening, a Vienna opening, a Paris opening, and a Moscow opening. Ugh. Is it worth checking the index for things like that?
You flick through the book.
Oh, wow.
You get distracted by reading up on all the different attacks and defenses and gambits with references to famous examples of them being used by grandmasters.
You know why I have a block about this?
Why?
Because a little while ago I thought, chess is puzzles. Surely I'll be interested in that. And not only am I awful at chess puzzles for some reason, it just doesn't click in my head very well. But I decided to look up a couple of chess openings and things, and I went, ooh, I wonder what the cool name for my favorite opening is. And it was called something like the Baboon Opening.
The Dullard's Move.
Pretty much.
The Fool's Gambit.
The Fool's Gambit at least sounds cool. Mine wasn't even a gambit.
The Beginner's Idiocy.
The Just Quit Now.
They're grouped by their codes, as chess openings are. You cast your eye over some familiar and less familiar strategies. A50, the Queen's Pawn Gambit. B20, the Sicilian Defense. Larsen's Opening, the Polish variation. The French Defense. And you wanted to check some particular places and things?
I was thinking of looking at those cities, but also some of those are very namey. I wonder if David has an opening.
There's no David opening.
Okay, good.
There's not even like a David variation on the Fool's Gambit.
That's okay. We were just told that David was the first one, so maybe there was a David opening.
What did you want to look up?
Let's see. Budapest.
You go through the index, Budapest. Budapest! There is a Budapest Gambit.
Okay.
It's labelled as code A52. Or A52 if you prefer.
Sure. Any further information that you reckon I should look up about how this works?
Not really. The rest is all very esoteric and
Sounds
chessy.
like chess. All right, let's keep going. Might as well just go alphabetically, see if I can find a Moscow, a Paris, and then a Vienna.
You see a Vienna straight away.
Okay.
Vienna game, C25. Paris, you can't find Paris explicitly. But
There was a French one.
there is a French defense, which is C00.
Okay.
Moscow, again, doesn't seem to appear in the index.
But a Russian one?
Oh, there is a Russian one. Grunfeld Russian variation. That is D81.
Goodness. Okay. Like, these are clearly helpful, but I still have no idea how. I do not know what to do with this information.
It's funny because you're collecting pretty much everything you need to just like zoom through. There's one thing that you need to do to start this journey.
Well, I've checked the doors.
Oh yeah, you've checked this stuff. Just got to try something.
Apparently. It's very difficult to know what to interact with. Like, it feels like I do have this cubicle to potentially interact with, but it also seems like the only other good thing is the computer and entering a password into that. I don't feel like I necessarily have anything hinty for the computer password. Does it offer anything in the way of hints?
So, yeah, you know what? If you try and put in a password, it says no and offers a hint. And the hint is the word David.
Yeah. I mean, I wondered that. It is right there, and that is a typical password thing to do. But yeah, I don't necessarily know what I should be doing with all of this stuff. Like, should I just be typing in the date that was written there? Should I just be typing in the name David?
Well, look, it doesn't look like there's any locking out after X tries, so you can throw a few of these
I'll
in.
give some of them a shot. Like, I'll try just David. Maybe it's one of those ones that's just telling me the answer.
You try David, and it says, incorrect. 0 chances remaining. The computer explodes. No,
That's
David
cool.
does not work.
All right, 21788 for the date. That was
You try
on
putting in the
thing?
date.
Mhm.
Beep, boop, 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 beep, beep.
Mhm.
The computer screen fades to white, and a single icon sits on the desktop.
Okay.
It's an application called GK Security. On opening it, you see a diagram of the room,
Oh.
highlighting the beds in which your friends still lie.
Oh, they're computer-operated beds.
Now, it looks like the beds are labelled from the corner down, or from the corner across, 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 obviously is already opened. That was the bed that you were in.
mine.
The beds 1 to 4 are labelled locked.
Mhm.
And there is a blank space under each of those beds in which you could input a password.
Oh.
Doesn't look like it'd be many. No more than, say, 3 or 4 digits could fit in that space.
Oh, man, I've got so many combinations of 3 or 4 or so things. Like, is the passport thing's going to be there? Is something to do with the clock going to be there? Is something to do with these shower elements? Probably not. I don't want that to be it. Is it something to do with the stacking of the books? Which of these things goes with this? Look at the beds again. Did I miss something by looking under it or anything? Is this searchy?
Well, you do look under the beds,
Yeah.
and you see that there is something in the corner of the
Ooh.
furthest bed.
Which one's the furthest bed?
The one in
1 or 5?
1, we'll say. There's definitely something underneath it, right in the far corner, but it's beyond your reach. And and you can't move these beds with your friends on them. They're too heavy, so you can't quite see what's under there.
None of the scrapey, pokey, or anything devices can help me
It is
out.
exactly 1 inch further than the furthest you can reach with the longest poking device from the surgical table.
That is offensive. Yeah, I've got a lot of things, but I am having trouble in my head making these connections and trying to figure out what is going to lead me to what. Because, yeah, I have 4 beds and 4 passport pages.
True.
I also have 4 different areas of bookshelf.
True.
And therefore, like 4 different chest code openings as well. 5 different elements that I'm working with, but that seems like it's just related to the shower and the canisters, whatever they are. I feel like my instincts are telling me that the passport papers are what's related to it. They were by the computer. There are 4 of them.
Fair.
And there are like a couple of digit sort of codey things that I've associated with them.
That seems fair.
Is there any way to know like what goes with what?
Yeah, you need them just 1, 2, 3, 4, effectively.
But like unless I wrote something wrong, I seem to have A, C, C, D.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Ugh. Would have been much nicer if it was A, B, C, D. It could be by date, I suppose. Like they do have dates on them in an order. So like, what's the earliest one? Paris? Yeah, Paris, right? That's
Yep.
the earliest one.
Paris is the earliest.
So can I try like putting the C00 into the code on the computer for bed 1?
You try putting C00 into the code on the computer for bed 1, and you hear chink chink in the corner, and your friend bolts upright and says, "I'm free! I've been freed!" And then jumps up and runs around the room, and
Okay.
crashes into the surgical
Yeah, come on,
equipment,
Brian.
and explodes.
Well, we get it. All right. In that case, I'm going to do the same thing for the others. So bed 2, I guess D8-1.
You put D8-1 into bed 2. Chink chink. Oh, I'm free. I'm free. Thank you so much. I'll calmly get up.
Do your Scooby-Doo voice or we're not friends anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rhyme re.
Thank you.
Ramly ret rup.
Bed 3, A52.
A52. Chunk chunk. Yeah, dagnabbit, I'm out of my bed.
That's your best Shaggy. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
Am
you-
I meant to be Shaggy?
you've
This
been
is just how
trying.
I always look. I believe that's why you picked me for this party. Because I just look exactly like Shaggy.
This is how we make friends. And number 4, C25.
C25. Chink chink. Okay. I guess I'm free.
So you get it. You understand Daphne.
Jinkies. Wait, I got it wrong. Sorry.
No, that's exactly how Daphne makes fun of Velma.
And all your friends are free.
Okay, that's something. Hey, everyone, go test your hands. See if any of you have good hands for that handprint thing.
They each go to the white door. Invalid subject, access denied.
For all
Invalid
of them.
subject, access denied. Invalid subject, access denied. Invalid subject, access denied.
All right, now go test your toxins.
You make me read it over and over again.
Oh, sure I am.
Subject
That's
toxic,
on
subject
me.
unprotected, no access. Subject toxic, subject unprotected, no access. Subject toxic, subject unprotected, no access. Subject toxic, subject unprotected, no access.
All right, look, I had a piece of paper when I woke up. Do any of you guys have anything? Pockets? Hands?
No. Row.
And?
No.
Right. Well, now where do I go? What's the clock doing?
The clock is still stationary on its last number.
8 o'clock.
There's something you can do now.
There is?
Yeah.
What, are any of my friends taller than me and can reach that thing? Oh, the bed can move
The
now.
bed can move now. Now that it's not weighed down by your friends, the bed is movable.
All right.
You slide the beds away from the wall and you can see what's in the corner. It's a A4 transparency.
Ooh, okay.
It's covered in loads of rectangles arranged in something like a series of columns and another pair of rows beneath it. Apparently randomly placed along this, 5 of those squares are coloured in. One is coloured in red, one is coloured in blue, one green, one yellow, and one purple.
Oh my. Does it look like it would fit over a periodic table of some sort?
It looks exactly like it would fit over a periodic table of some sort.
Intriguing.
And when you do, there are certain elements that are highlighted by these
I
colours.
should hope so.
Hydrogen, for example, is highlighted by a red box.
Excellent.
Oxygen by a blue. Sulfur by a green. Erbium by a yellow. And tungsten is highlighted purple.
Good. So now I can connect elements with these coloured canisters. Fantastic. Does tungsten go in a canister? I shake that one. Does it sound very solid?
Tung, tung, tung.
That's what you want. I don't shake the erbium one. I don't know what lanthanides can do to me.
Erbium?
That's what I was afraid of. Now, these 5...
You should have just shaken them earlier. You could have known which was which.
So these 5 holes in the shower wall that seem like they would fit these canisters, are they in like a row, an
They
order?
are in a row left to right.
Great. In that case, presumably to spell out the word shower, I should put in the green sulfurous canister first, followed by the red hydrogenous one,
Sure.
the blue oxygenous one, the P tungstonian one,
Yep.
purple, and the yellow erbimeous one.
That's true. You load up the canisters in the correct order and close the door. A faint hissing sound starts.
Brian, get in there.
Don't put Brian in there.
Fine.
As it grows louder, you notice gas. In fact, all 5 of you are in there.
Okay.
As it grows louder, you notice gas coming out of the ceiling and the floor of the cubicle. The cubicle fills up and you can barely see your own hand. The air is heavy with a peculiar smell and the hissing sound is painfully loud. Just as you think you'll be unable to stand the feeling any longer, the whole system turns off. Your lungs feel weak and your ears are still ringing. But the panel now reads, subject clean,
Yes.
proceed.
Sweet. I love it. I assume I feel nice and sauntered after that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Good steam cleaning. Everyone needs it once in a while. You see, this is a great place.
What is this weirdly optimistic character?
I'll tell you at the end.
It's Scary Marlowe from...
Why do you think I'm trying to be Beth May?
Because you've got a very Beth May attitude. Danny, I've realised something terrible.
Oh, no.
There's an element of this room that you haven't looked at yet at all.
What?
There's something in this room that you have not checked out. And now I know the reason you haven't checked it out, which is I don't think I ever read it out.
Oh, no.
And I apologise.
There's a severed hand somewhere. I could have
No,
been
no,
going
no.
through that door
It's
the
something
entire
very subtle.
time.
I just got confused in the description because, it's hard when you're running somebody else's room.
Oh, for sure.
I saw metal door, and then when I picked back up, I picked up straight from the words metal cabinet, effectively.
Oh. There's an extra...
Next to the shower cubicle, there is a metal
cabinet.
cabinet. It is right next to the shower cubicle. There is a metal cabinet.
Interesting.
It's been there the whole time,
Sabotage!
but you never noticed. And I apologise that you didn't look at this. Luckily, at least, it wouldn't change the pacing of the room because I know what's in this cabinet. It wasn't going to help you until right now, when you need
Well,
it.
yeah, that's the other problem is that when you realize that you've forgotten something, it's usually because it's about to become
True,
important.
but you've solved everything in the room anyway.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Well, I guess I should look at this cabinet that I have foolishly overlooked until this moment.
The cabinet, which has been there the whole time,
This
is
is
a
why
large...
this is why I'm always just a little bit scared when I know that people are playing rooms off my notes.
I even play tested this room and I got the cabinet that time. I was waiting for you to check this cabinet thinking, why didn't you? And then I realised I don't think I ever read it out. Unless I did. Maybe I'm vindicated by the original recording and you're the fool.
I drew this whole room out. If you didn't look at my beautiful drawings, that's on you.
It is a large metal cabinet with a heavy chain through the handles. You can't see an end to the chain. It just seems like it goes the full way around. It's been welded shut together. But it's keeping the doors closed.
Well, I don't know if I can do much with this yet, unless my new Steam Clean just gives me the ability to melt through chains, but it seems unlikely.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to work.
None of those saws or tools look like they'd be of any use.
You check out the saws, and at least one of these saws is a big, hefty hacksaw kind of saw, so you can give it a try if you like.
I would like.
You find an accessible chunk of chain and start sawing. Eventually, you work your way through the chain, and it falls open.
Okay.
You open up this cabinet to find that it's a wardrobe.
Oh.
And inside, there is a hanger with a white, full-body suit with a hood and a mask. And on the floor is a pair of elasticated white foot coverings.
Elasticated. That is a word. All right, good. Well, I am clean, but now I can be covered or whatever it asks me to do, protect myself in some way. All right, I'll take this one, I tell the gang.
Oh no!
Why were they so unhappy?
That's just the guy who was screaming earlier.
Yeah, I will dress myself up in this gear.
Yep.
It's Halloween. Let's be honest. A lot of people didn't think I was in costume.
What was your call? Because you were just Velma.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right.
So now I approach this toxicity door.
You approach the door, the camera blinks at you, and the red scanning light turns green, pauses, and switches off. The panel reads, "Subject clean and protected.
Hell
Proceed." Yeah. The door opens, and you find yourself in a small room.
Now, if I step through this and then take off my protective gear and throw it back out, can I get my friends with me?
If you'd like, but we don't. You could just leave them in the main room. They're fine.
Okay.
The door opens into a small room. It is dimly lit, and the air feels crisp and clean, like a carefully controlled room of a museum or an archive. There is a small table against the back wall, and along the right wall is what looks like a fitted wardrobe door, a large wardrobe, which has a pair of knobs above the handle, like an intricate dial-safe lock. But that's it. There's no door out other than the door you came in.
A likely story. I've read wardrobe books. Let's check out this wardrobe.
It's quite a large wardrobe. On the door, there is a lock. There are two knobs, each with the numbers 1 to 12 around the outside of these like rotational locks. 12 is sitting at the top, and then the numbers go clockwise, 1 to 11 around it. Above each knob, there is a pair of zeros, and there's a colon in between them.
Sounds good, sounds good. So this is clearly clock related. I can get back to the previous room, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Quick look at the clock. Anything changed?
No, it's still sitting on the final time.
Well, this worries me because now I'm afraid that it wants me to put in what the next time is going to be, and I have no idea what the next time is going to be.
I will say the knobs are currently pointing to 12, on both sides.
So they're currently both facing the 12. So that was how I found the clock in the first place. So is it actually not coming up with a new time, and it's just like these clocks that I saw were a combination? Because that's how American combination locks work. I don't know if it's how our combination locks work.
That's how my locker one
works.
combination
locks. I've never used them.
Clockwise to one number, anti-clockwise to another number, etc. That's how it works.
I've always been a padlock person. You've seen me in escape rooms. I can't use combination locks. But yeah, they go like anti-clockwise and clockwise in varying.
And all classic safes have that like.
And this is why I don't use them. But so if they're currently facing at 12, can I change them so that like one is pointed at a 3, or the left one, I guess, is pointed at 3, and the right is pointed at 6?
Yeah, sure, you can. I'd like a little bit more detail about how you change them.
Oh, I rotate them clockwise to make that happen.
You rotate them clockwise all the way until, so the left is pointing at 3 and the right one's pointing at 6.
Yeah, to
and you
represent
hear a
330.
very faint.
I'll take that as a good sign. Again, I don't know these locks well enough to know for sure. So then I'll try rotating them anti-clockwise until the left one is at 6 and the right one is at 10. That's right?
Yeah. You rotate them so it looks like 10 to 7
Yeah.
anti-clockwise, and you hear a little.
And then back to clockwise. So the left one is at 8 and the right one is at 12.
The final z, and
Whew.
the doors open.
Yay.
And you can pull them to one side. Nothing could have prepared you for what lies within.
Oh, no.
A series of hangars.
Oh.
Hundreds of them.
Oh.
And every hanger holds what looks to be an entire person's skin. From head to toe in a clear bag.
Interesting.
You hesitantly approach the first bag that you see and notice it has a reference card slipped into a little pocket on it. They all do. They're numbered. 89046 AQ6, 89047 CM4, and so on.
I'm trying to see if I can get any information out of that. Like, should I take note of any in particular of those codes as an example? Or is it just an example
It's
of
just
how
an
they
example.
are mixes of letters and numbers?
Yep.
Right. Good to know. I should back away and check out this table. As I do, I close the wardrobe again and say, some people get way too into Halloween. These costumes
this
are a bit
character.
too scary for me.
They're real human skin!
And I go to the table.
The table has nothing on it,
Oh.
but it does have a small drawer.
Oh.
The drawer itself has a series of 9 small levers on it.
Oh.
If you wiggle the levers, you find that each can click upwards, downwards, or just sit in the middle. The drawer doesn't open. It seems locked.
9. Have I seen 9 of anything around here? I've used an awful lot of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 books on the bookshelf.
There are 9 books on the bookshelves.
Whew, that is the thing I haven't used yet. Sorry, my chair is creaking.
That's fine.
Ooh, okay, good. That is the thing that I have not used yet from that previous room. So those were going from left to right. So the leftmost one was in the middle, so I set that switch so it's middle.
Great.
Then there were 3 ups, so I flick the next 3 all up. Next 4 all down. Next one middle.
The drawer opens.
Yay.
You find inside a folder. Looking through the folder, you see a series of data sheets, hundreds of them, personal information about individuals, and headshots clipped to each one. Each of these has a reference code in the top right-hand corner.
Oh, okay. How far back can I flip what feels like the earliest piece of paper?
The earliest is where it all started.
Mm.
You find David's sheet. He was 24 years old,
Oh, man.
5'11", blonde-haired, had a distinctive birthmark on the inside of his left thigh, and his reference number is 88001 DG1.
Now, does that mean anything? Does that spell anything? I don't know, but I guess I should open up the costume wardrobe again and look for the one that has that reference number. But there's a lot.
You open
Am
up.
I able to?
Yep, you flick through the real human skins until you find David's number. You rifle through the Grimm collection and eventually find the one labelled 88001 DG1. It's a tall skin with blonde hair. Checking it carefully, you see David's
It came with
distinctive
hair?
birthmark.
Wild.
You unzip the carrier to inspect the skin further, like a freak, and notice a carefully drawn slit just above one of the wrists, like you could slip your own hand inside.
As in, like, to wear or to
To
feel
wear
around
his
inside?
hand like a glove.
Little weird. Don't know why I would want to do that, except that it seems like wearing someone else's hand could be important. Cool. I put on the skin suit, and I call out to my friends, "Hey, you better come in here, guys!" And I jump out at them and scare them, and I laugh about how I laugh.
Oh, you're just a Goosebumps kid.
No. Not exactly.
You're the Goosebump Kid friend who plays pranks on him and doesn't accept that things are actually scary.
I was going for the parent, but I will also
You're
take
the parent
friend.
of a Goosebumps kid. All right. Well, look, you now have a skin hand over your real hand.
Right, I go back and I see if this is the hand that the white door wants.
You take David's skin and slip your hand gingerly into the hole at his wrist, giving the hand some shape. You press your hand with his skin on to the interface. It glows again and eventually reads, "Access granted."
Hey.
The door slides open directly to the outside world at what looks like the back of the house, sheltered by a hill. You and your friends scramble desperately up the hill with every intention of calling the police to arrest the whack job that's just nearly skinned you all for his gruesome collection. But then you still have no car or phone signal. Dot, dot, dot.
I've been dotted? Well, now I know how it feels.
And that is the end.
Excellent.